Hello everyone and welcome to week 1 of CIS-115, soon to be renamed to CSC-120, so don't get confused if you see some stuff in the class that says CSC-120. My name is Ken Clifton and I am your instructor for the online section of CIS-115. I put an introductory video out there in YouTube, and I will also put it in your class where you can see that if you want to know more about me. I'm going to switch over and share my desktop where we can talk about various parts of the class and what you need to do in the first week. So here goes. Okay, so with the class, you can see I am here in Blackboard. You can go straight to this. You don't have to go through the RCCC website. You can just go to rccc.blackboard.com and that will take you there without having to go through the RCCC website, or even better yet, add a favorite to rccc.blackboard.com. You can see it's right up here on my address bar. So once you're signed into the class, the first thing that you want to do is go to Start Here and then do the enrollment verification assignment. Now that assignment is going to unlock everything for you in the class. And if you don't do that assignment by February 2nd, which is not very long, class starts on January 25th, tonight at midnight. And that means that you have, 9 days to get it done? So, and you will be behind if you don't get this done right away, because you won't be able to do any work in the class until you get this done. So this is not something to stress over. It's not graded. You just have to get a score of 1 or above to be entered into the class. But if you don't do this by February 2nd, you will be removed from the class and you may not get a refund. So again, you're going to land in the class on the announcements page right here. The easiest way to get to the EVA is to click on Start Here and then click on the link that says Enrollment Verification Assignment. So I'm going to actually pop into that so you can see what it looks like. So when I click on that link, it takes me to this screen with the Begin button. And when I click on Begin, you'll see that it has a bunch of questions here with square boxes. Those are multiple answer questions. So as a rule, when you see boxes here in Blackboard, it means there's more than one answer that you need to pick. Now, if you're one of those folks that, even though this is not a graded assignment, and you're one of those folks that says, I've got to get perfect on everything, then all you've got to do to have the most points that you can earn in this assignment is just go down and check everything. Now, on my homework and my test in this class, it's usually a bad idea to check all the answers, just so you know. But on the enrollment verification assignment, if you want to, you only have to have a score of 1, which means you'd only have to check one of these things and hit submit. But if you want the maximum number of points possible, check all of them, hit save and submit here where I'm mousing, and you will be entered into the class. So I'm going to hit save and submit, but I really can't do this. It'll tell me I can't. So when I click OK, you can see it makes out like I did it, but I didn't. So, all right. So once you have done the EVA, then you can get started with items in the class. Now, I'm going to click on the announcements again so that it takes us back to this page where we land when we go into the class. And I will change this video out. This is left over from last semester. The one that I'm doing right now will look a little different. And there'll also be an introductory video that comes from my YouTube channel where all the lectures for this class are already posted. So as long as we're talking about YouTube, I can go ahead and click on that link and it will take you to my YouTube channel. And this is what I was talking about. This class that you're in, CSC-115, is going to be renamed to CSC-120 next fall. So a lot of the materials that you'll see for this class say CSC-120. I'm trying to go through there and update all the videos as time goes by to have that new name on them. Now there's also a playlist. I'm trying to figure out, right here's the playlist link. So if I click on that playlist, you can see right here it says CSC-120/CIS-115 Computing Concepts class or Programming and Logic in sequence. This is a full list of videos, and you can see there are a lot of videos out here. So this is the one where I introduce myself. If you don't want to know anything about me, then you can probably just skip over that and go straight to the week 1 video that I'm doing right now. So that's my YouTube channel. There's always stuff posted out there, and there's also material from my other classes that I'm teaching as well. So YouTube channel. So just going down the checklist here, each week of class I put a brand new checklist out there. And the checklist has things that we need to do, and it has assignments at the bottom. So you'll want to go through here and religiously go down the list. These are things that you should pick up this week of class, and so these are the things that we need to get done. So I'm going to talk to you about each of these things in this video. So hopefully you understand you'll need to look for a checklist out there each week. Okay? So we have talked about item 1, 2, the entry activity, okay, the EVA, and let's talk about the instructor's information now. And so, and actually, this says entry activity. It's now called the EVA, just so you know. So, let's go on and look at the faculty information link here. Faculty information. So when I click onto that, you can see my picture, my office phone number. You'll notice that my office location is online in Microsoft Teams due to the pandemic. Right here is what I want to point out, these links. If you want to meet with me in my office hours times, then these links are specific to that day of the week. So you can see that tomorrow, Monday, January 25th, I have office hours from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And right here's the link that you click on. Best to use Chrome for this. This is Teams. This will take you into the web version of Microsoft Teams. And so this is the way you would go in to meet with me. I will already be in that meeting. And when you click on this link, it will put you into that meeting as well. So these are things about me, my personal website that is talked about in that first video, all the certifications that I hold, and so you can read anything you want to do about that. The main thing I wanted to point out was the office hours information here, and of course my email and phone number. So that's faculty information. I'm going to go to start here, and let's look at the syllabus for the class. Now, the syllabus is sometimes this is a little bit buggy, just so you know. Give it a moment to come up. I'm going to click on the link, and what you may see when I click on this link is a map of the world with a blue button that says Start Session. If you click on syllabus and it hangs there on that map of the world with that blue button that says Start Session, go ahead and click that blue button that says Start Session and give it a moment, and it should take you into the syllabus too. A lot of folks think when they see that map of the world that it's not going to work. You may have to click on that blue button, and odds are when I click on syllabus, it's going to show us that map for just a moment, and if you look real fast, you may see that blue button that I'm talking about that says Start a Session. I don't think I will have to click on that button, but I want you to know about it in case you have to. So here goes. Okay, it showed me the map for just a moment and then it went away. So this is a 5 contact hour class. It's 3 credit hours, but it's 5 contact hours. And what that means is that the class would normally meet for 3 hours a week and have 2 hours of lab. That's a pretty heavy-duty class. Most of your classes are just like 3-hour classes. This is 3 plus 2, making it 5. It's a pretty heavy-duty class, okay? So here's those office hours links again. You saw I was in Blackboard and I could get to them. I put them also here in the syllabus where you could find them there as well. There's what we were talking about contact hours, okay? So, coming on down, we use a free textbook. Now, I'm going to show you a link to the site for the class, and actually it's here too. If you just go to www.rcccit.com/CIS-115, it will take you to the site where you can search not only the textbook, but every lecture that I've given. So textbook is free. There's nothing for you to buy for this class. That really makes this class kind of a one-of-a-kind class in that you don't have to buy a book. You don't have to buy a CodeLab. We're one of the few colleges that does that. Okay, there are some questions on the Icebreaker about required items for the class. I want to also show you right here where it says computer hardware. You need a PC or a Mac. No cloud-based equipment like a Chromebook. Now, if you have a Chromebook that's been issued to you, I know a lot of the early colleges are issuing Chromebooks now. If you have a Chromebook, we do have a way for you to do the work in the class, so don't panic. But what you will have to do if you have a Chromebook is you'll need to get into something called NetLab, and I'll need to get you an account in NetLab. So if you have a Chromebook, email me, ken.clifton@rccc.edu, and let me know right away so that I can get you an account in NetLab where you can remote control a PC that already has everything installed on it, and that way you can write the programs for this class. So even if you have a Chromebook, you can do the work. Now, if you may be able to get a loaner PC as well. There's a form that you can fill out to get help at Student Services, and so online. So if you email me, we'll figure out a way that you can do the work. So just pointing that out to you about the things that work best, PC or Mac. If you have a Chromebook, we'll get you in one way or the other. Okay? So, coming on down. I'm going down to where we get to the part about how your grade is calculated. Now, on the Icebreaker, once you've done the EVA, you'll be able to get into the Icebreaker quiz and answer questions. And there are questions on that quiz about how much things count in this class. So one thing I wanted to point out here, what counts the most? If you look here, what has the biggest number there? Projects. So we have 10 projects in the class. That's 35 points of your grade comes from projects. So that's the most important thing. The second most important thing are tests. So, all right. Plagiarism, you don't want to turn in somebody else's program as your own. Right here, I give everybody 10 points when they start the class. Those 10 points I give to you when you first come into the class. You've already got a grade of 10. Your grade can only go up. You'll start out with a 10, and as you do work, it'll go to a 12 or a 13 or a 14. Every time you do an assignment or take a test, your grade will climb up however many points that item is worth. So don't freak out if you look at your grade the first week of class and it's like an 18 or something. That's because that's how many points you've earned. That's how many points you've earned. You get the 10 points that I give you when you start the class, and then each time you do an assignment, the points for that assignment get added to your grade. Okay? So, on this list, that academic integrity, those 10 points say that I give you those 10 points because I think you're going to hand in your own work. You're not going to copy somebody else's program and hand it in as your own. If you do turn in somebody else's program as your own, and I put things in each program that customize that program to you, I will know if you turned in somebody else's work. You will lose 10 points. That will knock you down a letter grade. It's pretty hard to get an A in the class if you turn somebody else's work in. And 10 points off of your entire grade for the class is a pretty big hit. Not only will you lose those 10 points, but you'll get a 0 on that project. So don't do it. Okay, late work. 7 points per day that it's late. That comes from the college policy that says if you don't turn anything in for 2 weeks straight, I'm required to remove you from the class. So if you take 14 and multiply it by 7 points, you'll see that comes out to about 98 points. So that's why it's 7 points a day. After 2 weeks, you're removed from the class. You got a 0 anyway. So, all right, this is a schedule of what we're doing in the class. So we've kind of gone through the syllabus. Now I'm going to pop back into Blackboard and keep talking about what we're doing here. So back to the checklist. We have already been through the office hours, the email, we've looked at the syllabus. Let's kind of look around the class here and get familiar. Now, we found the syllabus behind Start Here along with the EVA. Okay, so most everything after the first week where you do the EVA and look at the syllabus and stuff, almost all of our work is going to be where I'm mousing right here where it says course content. So let's pop into that. Here's another warning about doing the EVA before February 2nd. Okay, so right here, Module 1. Once you do the EVA, you'll be able to see Module 1. Okay, until you've done the EVA, you won't see this. You won't see Module 1. Okay, before we pop into Module 1, let's look at one more thing. Right here, discussion board. The first week of class, there is a graded assignment for you to do in the discussion board. This is a graded assignment. You get points for doing certain things. So I'm going to click into the discussion board and show you right here in yellow. Right here is the Getting to Know You assignment. Okay? You earn points for doing this assignment, posting a thread out there that introduces yourself to the class. You get 20 points for mentioning your academic goals, what you want to do. You get 20 points if you mention your professional goals. You get 20 points if you mention your experience with online or internet-based courses. And if you haven't taken one, it's okay to say you haven't taken one. You'll still get the 20 points. 20 points if you mention something you like to cover in the class. And you get 20 points for attaching some photo to that thread. It doesn't have to be a photo of you. It can be a photo of anything. It can be your dog, your cat, your car, your computer, whatever. So I will introduce myself to the class here too. You can see it's empty right now. I'm gonna do an introduction just like what you need to do. Okay. To get started, you just create thread, and then you type in a subject here, and then you do the items that you wanted to add. If you want to insert a photo, you can click on the little photo button right here. This will let me pick a photo and insert it into my post. If you want to attach a photo, you can do that too. So it's up to you. But this is a graded assignment. This counts as part of your homework grade. So if you don't do this discussion board assignment, you just lost points from your homework grade. Okay? Because this is graded. It's not optional. Okay. Back to the course content. Okay? So right here I said this is where everything will be once you have done the EVA and you've done the discussion board. Then all of our work for the rest of the class will be here behind course content. And I am currently in Module 1. That's the only one that's open right now. So inside here, this is where you'll get started with the course orientation. And there are quizzes for you to do in here. There's a programming history. There's a numbering systems quiz. I think there may be a YPython quiz in there as well. So there are 3 quizzes out there inside this folder that you can do. Okay? That are graded. So you'll notice right here in Module 1, this assignment summary, this has dates for when it's suggested that you have all this stuff done. And in the course orientation folder, you'll notice right over here where it says assignment location, it says module 1 course orientation. These are all things that are inside that folder, and they're there for you to do. Okay? So, these have the due dates of when we're going to have things done. And if you'll notice here, the first week of class, there are 2 projects for us to do. So we'll talk about those projects, and there are videos to help you with these projects as well. So let's talk about the course calendar for a minute. I showed you this, the module assignment summary. This kind of shows you where to find things and when they're due. There's another place that you can see where things are due in Blackboard. If you click on Course Tools and come down and click on Course Calendar, this is a good place to look. Right here in purple, this is the month of January. You can see we've got a lot of stuff coming due on Sunday, January 31st. So let me click on these and you can see what some of them are. Getting to know you. Remember that discussion board post that we were just talking about? This is when it's due. The next one down, Icebreaker quiz, is due Sunday, January 31st. Historical Perspective of Programming quiz, also in the course orientation, is due. Okay? So aside from that assignment list, you can look at the calendar. If you're taking more than just my class, then if you're seeing things in other colors showing up, and yours may not be this purple color, yours may be some other color, you can come over here and uncheck things, or if you want to see all of the things for all of your classes, if your other teachers are using Blackboard the way it's designed to be used, with putting due dates in Blackboard, you'll see those other assignments showing on the calendar too. This is a good place to look because I could typo something, and I do it frequently. I will have a typo in one of these dates right here, because I just type this stuff in. I try to look at the calendar and put it here. But if I typo one of these dates, Blackboard is the final authority. So what you see on that course calendar is actually what Blackboard is going to enforce. Blackboard will mark something late if it's past the due date that's set in Blackboard. So if I typo something here, then this date may not be what's showing on the course calendar in Blackboard. So always check the course calendar if possible, so that you will know when things are due. Now, if I do make a mistake, obviously I will work with you on that. So don't freak out or anything. But the best place, what I'm trying to tell you, the best place to look is in Blackboard course calendar. Okay? So, back to course orientation here. There's an Icebreaker quiz. Icebreaker quiz you can only do one time. There are some quizzes here that you can do up to 5 times, and it will only use the highest of those 5 different tries. Icebreaker is one of those that you can only do once. This is like a scavenger hunt. So I'm going to pop into the Icebreaker and answer a couple questions, and you can see what it looks like. So here we go. I clicked on it, and I'm going to click on Begin. Okay. So right here, what's the toll-free number for the 24/7, 365 days a year ITS Blackboard Help Desk? Okay, it's this number right here, 704-216-7200. Now, this is, even though this doesn't have a timer on it, your web page could time out. So what I tell everybody is come down here where I'm mousing, where it says Save All Answers, and hit that button so that you don't get a page timeout. Most web servers have a timeout of 20 minutes. Some folks have it dialed back to 10. It's to be safe, click on Save All Answers, and that will keep that timer fresh for you. Okay. Here's question 3. Where's the course syllabus located? We were just looking at the course syllabus. Anybody remember where was it found over here? Start here. So, gonna answer that question. Course syllabus is located, start here. Okay. Where do you access the exams and quizzes? The exams and quizzes are in course content. You could find the answer for that by looking actually in Module 1 and seeing where the quizzes are located. Module 1 has all the quizzes where? In course content, because that's where Module 1 is. Okay, save all my answers again. It's going to ask you what email address that you want to use to be communicated with. Just type it in here. Everybody gets that right. You see it's worth 0 points. Make sure you put an email address that you will be checking for the 14 weeks of our class. Okay. When's the getting to know you discussion board need to be completed by? Look at the course calendar or look at the assignments list and you'll know the answer to this. I already showed you, but the course calendar. So, and we already talked about that. Okay, so you can see that right here, here's one of those things. How much is the final test or project worth in the class? Okay, how much was that final test or project worth? 10%. 10% of your grade. Okay. I'm looking through here to see if I find anything else that I want to make sure that you know about. Everything else looks like it's pretty well covered in the class. Okay. So, true or false, a final project may be given in lieu of a final exam according to the syllabus. Okay, that's false. We actually have a test, a final exam, not a project. Okay, save all answers. You can go out of this and come back in. When you're ready for Blackboard to grade it, hit the blue button that says Save and Submit. Okay, so that's the Icebreaker. That's the Icebreaker quiz. Okay, remember, you can only do that one time. All right, back to the announcements again. Okay, so we've talked about familiarizing ourselves with the course calendar, the module layout. Let's talk about the free online textbook. Here's the site, the link to everything for the class. So I'm going to click on that. You can see right here it's got a search. This is where I was talking about earlier where you can type anything in and search. If you want to get a copy of the textbook, there is a PDF here. If you click on the link that says online textbook, right here where it says printable version, this will download a PDF to your computer. If you're just one of those folks that has to have something printed, you can print this out and put it in a binder. This is free. You don't have to buy a book for this class. Okay? There's some instructions on how to register your CodeLab account. I'm going to go back here into Module 1 where you can see that. There are questions for you to do in CodeLab. We'll cover some of those next week as well. But here's Module 1, course orientation. Okay, right here in this bright yellow, this is the code to get you into CodeLab. Okay, to register into CodeLab. Now, to register into CodeLab, you want to make sure that you give it your RCCC email address. Some email systems block the email from CodeLab. If you don't use your RCCC email, you may not be able to get registered into CodeLab, because the first step in registering into CodeLab is to get that email. If you can't get the email, you can't register into CodeLab. I'm going to click into here so you can see kind of the steps. Now here's that access code, okay, again, okay. Right here, when I click register a new account with CodeLab, these are the steps that you go through. So I'm going to go to this site so you can see what it does, okay. So let's see if it's going to get me into CodeLab. If it doesn't, we'll go to another link here. You notice there were a couple different links. Looks like it's not wanting to do that. Okay, finally. Did you see that? I had to click two different ones. Okay, so let's click this one again and see if it works. Looks like number 1 is not working for some reason. I had to click 2. Okay, now you see where it took you? You could have just gotten to this by doing this. https www.turingscraft.com, and this is where it talks about CodeLab, okay, and then ready to learn more about CodeLab, register for an account, click on that, okay. You're going to pick students, okay. This is where I was telling you, you have to type your email address in twice, okay. Use your RCCC email. When you click here and hit submit, it's going to send you an email to your RCCC email. Until you get that email, you can't go any further. So right here, there's that screen we were just talking about where you type your email in twice. Here's kind of what the email looks like that comes in. It's got a link in here that's specific to you. You click on this link to finish registering into CodeLab. So you'll have to fill out some information, and once you do that, you get to log in. When you log into CodeLab, you put your RCCC email, you put whatever password you picked, okay? And then you have to click here where it says add a course. See where I'm mousing? The green button that says add a course. You pick that I'm in a course that uses CodeLab. Hit next. And right here where it says intersection access code, this is what ties you to the class, and you want to make sure that you get the right code in here. Now remember where I said that code was? That code was actually right here in course orientation. Right here is that code. So this is your section access code that you put into that box. Once you put this in, you're into the class. You're into the class. So we can pop into CodeLab just so you can see how CodeLab works. Now, I've got multiple classes. You'll only have one probably. But when I go into CodeLab, it's going to take me in here, and then here's Module 1, and I can start working through these items right here on the left-hand side. So right here's the first question. It says, CodeLab replaces. Now here's the thing about CodeLab. You can keep answering these questions until you get it right. So there are only 4 possibilities. If you're not sure about the answer, you can just keep picking them and hit submit and try a different one until it gives you a green check mark over here. Now, CodeLab does not replace the textbook. It does not replace the instructor. It does not replace the homework programs that we write. So the correct answer is none of the above. I'm going to answer it wrong just so you can see what happens. Hit submit. It tells me, no, that's not the right answer, okay? You see how it marked it with a red X? So I'm going to answer it now correctly. So I picked the right answer, hit submit. You can see how it gave me a green check mark. Your grade for CodeLab comes from getting all these right. If you don't get all of them right, then you'll get however many you got right divided by the number that there were. Okay? So if you only got 12 right, you should get all of these right. All you got to do is keep trying. But if you only get 12 out of 13 right, then the way I would calculate your grade is this. 12 divided by 13 equals, you get a 92.3. You get a 92.3 if you only got 12 out of 13. Now, how do I know to check this? Because CodeLab is not hooked to Blackboard at all. How do I know to check it? You tell me when you're done with CodeLab. If you forget, there's no place for me to key a grade in. So let's go show you how to do that. I'm going to go back to Module 1. Here's Module 1. I'm going to come down to Module 1 Assignments and Exam. I'm going to click into there. You can see where we have some assignments to do. Right here where it says Module 1 CodeLab assignment in Blackboard. You want to make sure that when you have answered all the CodeLab questions, that you click on this and it tells you that how I'm going to calculate your grade. And here's the important thing right here. Nothing to submit except a comment of done. When you submit this, and I'm going to do it so you can see, when you submit this with a comment of done in Blackboard, that gives me a place to key your grade in. I will go over to CodeLab, add up how many you got right, divide it by the number that there were, and put your grade in. So if you forget to submit this in Blackboard, there's nowhere for me to key your grade in. I'm going to do it so you can see. I'm going to say I've finished CodeLab. I'm clicking on Module 1 where it was underlined. Down here where it says comments, right here, I'm going to type done and hit submit and OK. And now I'm an instructor, so it won't let me do it. But you can do it. Once you've done this and hit submit, I've got somewhere to key your grade in, and it tells me you're ready for me to go out there and key your grade in. So that's CodeLab. That's the way it works. That's the way CodeLab works. Okay? So if you're wondering when these things are due, the CodeLab is going to be due January 31st. And you could find that out in Blackboard. Let's just go look right here in Blackboard. Remember where I told you to look to see when something is due? Course Tools, Calendar. We want to know when CodeLab is due. Okay? Well, you could click on each of these and see. CodeLab is not due until February, right here is February 7th. Let's see if we can find out. Module 1 exams due February 7th. Module 1 exam part 2 is due. Homework is due. Module 1 CodeLab is due February 7th. February 7th. Okay? So you could find it looking at the course calendar. You could also find it in Module 1 by just coming down here and looking right here. What does this say? Module 1 CodeLab due February 7th. That's CodeLab. Okay, so let's go back to the announcements again and look. Okay, we've talked about CodeLab. In order to write the programs that we're doing in this class, you need something called Tawny. That's an IDE, an integrated development environment, where we can write Python programs. When you put Thonny on, it gives you Python as well. That's the cool thing. There's no separate install. You do put Thonny on there and you've got Python installed. So let's go see how to get Thonny. Now there are instructions on how to get Thonny, and I think it's in the course orientation folder. So let's click into there, and you can see here if it's in here or if it's in the other part. I guess it's in the other part. Let's go look. Right here it is. So when I click on Thonny in Module 1, you can see that this is kind of a little step-by-step of how to create a program in Thonny. Okay. Here's the instructions for installing Thonny. And there are different instructions for whether you're using Windows or a Mac. So most of you are probably going to have Windows, so I'm going to go there. Okay. Here's the download link for the current version of Thonny for Windows. So when I click on that, you can see it's going to want to download this file. So download Thonny and follow these instructions to put it on your computer. Once you've got Thonny installed, you can actually write your first Python program. So that's how to install Thonny. That's what we use to create our Python programs. Okay? And Python is a really cool language. It is just the best language. So easiest language to use. And so, all right. So let's go write our first program with Thonny in a moment. We'll write our very first computer program here for a lot of you. Some of you may have taken other languages, but we don't expect that. We expect folks coming into this class to have never written anything. In fact, this might be your first college class, period. I have a lot of high school students that take this class. So we don't assume that you know anything about programming computers. Now, let me just say this. A lot of folks come to me after the first week of class and say, well, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to learn this first week of class. Well, you are supposed to learn what a program is, and all that is from the computer history in the course orientation. You are supposed to learn what binary numbers are, what decimal numbers are, what hexadecimal numbers are. So that's in the numbering systems material. You are supposed to kind of figure out what Python is. That's from the Why Python material. Okay. But as far as really learning the constructs of like how Python deals with numbers or how to do conditional things in Python, all we're doing this first week is getting you familiar with Python and Tawny and how to run a program. So this really the first 2 weeks of class is just getting you comfortable. We're easing you into programming and getting you to learn how to write a program, learning how to run a program. And that's all. We don't want you to have to learn a whole lot of heavy duty stuff about Python while you're learning how to use the editor, Thonny, while you're learning what Python is and those kinds of things. So the first 2 weeks is really about, yes, we're going to write some programs, but they're just little fun programs, things to explore how things work. Okay? So let's do that first program with Tawny. Now I'm running Linux, and there is a version of Tawny for Linux as well. And I teach this class in a seated environment as well. Okay? Now the seated classes actually aren't seated right now due to the pandemic, but we still meet every week, and we still get together online in teams in the seated classes. Now this is an online class, so we're not, there's not a required meeting every week for this class. So let's do our first program, and I do have folks in the seated class that are using Linux. There are some folks out there that are actually using Linux that are taking this class. So I'm using Ubuntu Linux in case you're wondering. Okay, so Tawny is going to open up and it's going to look like this. This is Tawny. In this top window of Tawny, where I'm mousing right now, this is where we write our code. This is where we write the instructions to tell Python what to do. When we run our program, what happens comes out down here in this bottom window that says shell. So don't try to write code down here in this bottom window that says shell. You write your code up here in the top window. So there's kind of a ritual. You know how when they launch a ship and they bust the bottle of champagne on the front of the ship as it's sliding into the water, those kinds of things. The ritual for getting started programming with a new language is to write a program that prints hello world. Hello world. Now I'm teaching C++ right now, and to do that in C++ is about 15 lines of code. Okay? In Python, it's 1 line of code. Are you liking Python already? I'm all into not doing any more work than I have to make a program. So here goes. In the top window, I'm going to write my code, and my code is print. That's a function that's built into Python. Okay? If you look out there in Module 1, there's actually material about how to use the print function. Okay? So this I'm going to call the built-in print function in Python. Okay? I'm going to print something called a string. In Python, strings have to be inside of quotes. Do you see the green quotes there? Okay? If you start using a double quote, you have to finish with a double quote. So everything inside these quotes is going to get printed in this window down here. So here we go. I've got double quote, hello world, and I'm going to put an exclamation point because I'm happy about it. Okay? Now, when I get ready to run this, I'll hit the green button and right here where I'm mousing, where it says run current script. When I mouse over it, you'll notice also I could hit the F5 key to run it. Okay. I could have put this in single quotes. Python is fine with single or double quotes, but if you start with a single quote, you've got to finish with a single quote. Okay? So I'm ready to run this. I'm going to click the run button. It's asking me, where do you want to save the file? So you have to save this program before you can run it. Okay? So I'm going to just go ahead and create myself a new folder on my desktop that's called CIS-115 week 1. Actually, let's call this CIS-115 online week 1. Okay? And now in here I can just put for the name of my program. For the name of my program right here, I can put hello.py. You have to put the .py on the end of it for things to work right. So that's called the extension. So don't just name it hello and try to run it. You have to put hello, a dot, and then py. When I click OK, you can see down here in the bottom window, it printed hello world. We just wrote our first Python program. Okay? So we wrote some code here in the top window. We clicked the run button. We saved our file somewhere. And then we ran it. And there's what came out. Hello world. So you just wrote a Python program. So let's pop into Module 1 and look around for a second. So in Module 1, here's the assignments. We've got Project 1 right here. This folder in Module 1 Assignments and Exam. This folder has the Project 1 instructions right here. There's a video covering how to do Project 1. So I'll leave that to you to watch that video. We've done a little print program to print Hello World. So back to the announcements. Okay. Remember, there's a video to help you get started with Project 1 and Project 2. Okay. Here's a list of things that you need to do this week. Okay. You'll need to look at this ASCII art. That's all talked about in Project 1's folder. Okay. So, we're about done talking for this week. Remember, I introduced myself in another video that's out there for CSC-120, which is the new name for your 115 class. I want everybody to know you can do this. This is not rocket science. I have had folks that were sophomores in high school taking this class. So, and I've got folks that are, in graduate school. I've had folks that already had their doctorate degree and were taking this class. So it spans the whole range. We've got folks that have never touched a program before in their life taking this class. So you can do it. I know you can. I did it myself. If you watch that video about me, you'll know what I did. Okay? So good luck with week 1. Remember, there are office hours meetings out there that you can pop into if you have questions. And remember, check this list of items. These are the things that are going to be due by this coming Sunday, January 31st. Good luck and welcome to CIS 115, Introduction to Programming and Logic. Don't anybody stress. Just have a good time with it. Remember, if you need a NetLab account, email me so that we can get your Chromebook where you can remote control a computer that has Windows on it. All right, take care.